Hey guys, this is Demuslim, and this is Protoss brought to you by Razer Academy. Today we'll be looking at TVP in a little bit of detail, so I'm going to go through it, how to do the build order, how to play aggressive, and we'll get right on into the game. Hello, so we're starting this game with Demuslim. That is me swanning as the red Terran in the southwest. Wow, I had to do the never eat shredded wheat right there to find out which way was east and west of Whirlwind, and Tubby the Fat spawning as the blue Protoss in the northwest. So pretty cool. Whirlwind is a very much macro-centric map, so as you can see by the time it is going to be a rather long game, 43 minutes to be exact. Either way, we'll skip through the start of the game, and I will, I believe, open up with a CC first, which is one of the most macro-centric openings that you can possibly do. Either way, CC first right away. 15 CC, then we go for like barracks, we also scout, both scout the wrong way, so we can't see what our opponent's doing straight away, but he also goes for a rather fast expand too, so immediately, this is not going to be any funny business whatsoever, at least for the start of the game, but there is going to be a very, very, very economic-centered game. Either way, Mothership Core does have a kill, did get to scout the Nexus being made rather early along with the Stalker, and we know we're playing a macro game now. So 3 barracks very early on. We put up these depots around our base just for vision. That's for warp prisms. If you've ever had that time where a warp prism just kind of like warps in several units, then it just comes and rushes your mineral line, or DTs are being warped in, either way, it's all very, very annoying. Anyhow, what's happening in this game? We do see a Dark Shrine, warp prism, and my vision as a Terran player is totally not there. And you ask yourself, like, why? Why is it not there? And I mean, I can give you multiple answers like, well, I wanted to spend all my money on mules, I wanted to do this, I wanted to do that, but in general, it was just kind of me not really scouting. These Marines over here, they do... In fact, I don't see that Warp Prism, so I've got Marines kind of running around to check for anything that does come at me, but he's playing rather well. And here, we do start producing turrets. And I didn't produce turrets as I saw that blur, I just produced turrets as I was like, okay, nothing's attacking me, and it's 8 minutes into the game. This is kind of weird. But it's also, I might as well just put up turrets, because 8 minutes into the game, DTs can come at any point in time. Either way, I was a little bit late, and these DTs actually do cause quite a bit of damage, so as you can see, both numbers racking up in kills, and my harvest count definitely not doing too well. And 35 harvesters to 46, that is not a position in which we wish to be in. So DT at the front, killing even more harvesters. How many have been killed? 14. Definitely not cool for us. And resources lost, 1150 to 500. That probably includes a scan too, or in fact it doesn't include a scan, so definitely not in the best shape of our life ever. One of the things that did happen, we did actually kill the Warp Prism down here, which is solid, so we don't have to build a Viking to deal with the Warp Prism that was kind of running around. One advantage that we do have right now, or at least I thought I may have, is that I'll have the upgrade lead, because I went for a very early engineering bay. One thing that we are really sucking on here is our harvest count, and that is something that is going to be very hard to catch up on given that Protoss can chrono boost. Very heavily oversaturated here, 32 compared to 15. He should definitely have like 24 on each base really at this moment in time. We do run ahead with our medevac, do try and pick off that Mothership Core, in which we do, then we load up and get the hell out of there. Any kind of kill that we can have is always worth it. So here you see the resources lost tab. I'm going to talk about this for a little second. Sorry, my jaw is aching. 1,500 resources lost compared to 1,450. A lot of that though was workers, which is definitely worthwhile. And as you can see by the army supplies, Protoss is actually ahead of me, which is not a good spot for a Terran to be in. Terran should always be ahead at this point in time. In fact, I am a full minute and a half behind where I should be at this point in the game. We have a 3rd CC going up, we have a 4th and 5th barracks, we have a few missile turrets down, but also this resources lost tab over here does not include scans lost, in which mules should be running more efficiently. So take that into account whenever you play against Protoss and you're kind of working out like, hey, where did things go wrong? Because I only lost this amount of units and such. Well, you know, that's pretty bad by us. Either way, we do fly around with these medevacs, and we do try and get some dropship action going on. So here we take out quite a few workers, and as you can see, that base is heavily oversaturated, and so any workers that we can kill is actually probably benefiting him a little bit. Not a hell of a lot, but you know, it could be worse for him. So here we do lose that medevac. We take out a stalker or two, and this resources lost tab is still not the best for us, but we kind of even out that harvester count just a little bit. And here we have our 3rd base down. We're going to start putting down turrets, because we don't want to constantly scan when a DT is on the map and dealing with us. We yeah, you want to be using turrets and you want those DTs to walk into you. So multiple turrets go down. We do start taking this third base. Pretty finely timed, and he is going for level 3 attack very, very quickly. So no armor upgrades, just full on damage, and his third base is up and running. Saturation wise, 16 here, it's a good number. 16 here, it's a good number. Putting cannons up in his mineral lines, also pretty solid, and he is saturated very well. At this moment in time, the game is relatively equal. My APM is a little bit higher than our opponents, but it's been a pretty slow-paced game as of yet. Just a bit of DT harass, me doing a little bit of harass. And then we have a bunker going down at our third base. Reason I put down a bunker, I don't want those DTs coming in and dealing with us, dealing a lot of damage. So here he's got his little Stalker hit squad, I guess, and they're just kind of hoping that a drop flies over here, and then he can deal with us. This DT just being an absolute nuisance in the middle of the map. Not really dealing a lot of damage, but it is going to be something that we do have to snipe eventually. These Stalkers did get off a little pop shot, putting up a fourth base very quickly. I'll speed up the game a little bit. So what's happening here for me? Well, I'm trying to get upgrades, so we're getting a 2 or 3-2 right now. Level 2 armor's almost done. Getting ghost upgrades 2. Here we go for a large fight. So what happens in this fight? We do try and split out of these storms as much as we can, constantly trying to avoid the storm. The Colossi are dying one by one, and if you see the supply, we are actually a little bit ahead, but most of our production is still kind of walking across the map, and so this supply count, it isn't as impressive as it actually looks. And as you can see, his army, with this 3-0 attack upgrade, is actually dealing a lot of damage to us, and more Stalkers join the fray, and despite having still somewhat of a supply lead, we do not really win that fight. Resources lost tab, very close. In fact, we did win that fight. We took out all the Colossus, we took out the High Templar. Gas-wise, we didn't really lose a hell of a lot of gas. We still retained a huge medevac count, and now we can start adding in ghosts. We have quite a few barracks here, and we have multiple barracks at our third base too. This is where we're going to start adding down even more tech labs. I guess a reactor as well, yep. And we can start throwing in ghosts. So we're going for 3-3. I'd actually say we're ahead in upgrades right now. While he is 3-0 and we're 2-2, I'd definitely rather be the 2-2 player. We do go for a little drop over here. He actually, I remember when I did this drop. This is a drop where my units were kind of being attacked, and I was like, what on earth is it being attacked by? And so I saw the cannon a bit too late. Either way, doing a couple of drops again, just trying to deal with we killed the High Templar there, which is cool, but we drop and Stalkers come and deal with us. But those drops, they weren't necessarily for nothing. They were so we could expand again, which is exactly what a Terran needs to be doing. Terran, you always want to be at least one base ahead of your opponent, or at least equal. As you can see, our Protoss is actually in really good shape. Got a very healthy army here. Multiple High Templars, a few of them with Storm, 3 to be exact. A few Colossi, more Colossi joining the fray. At some point, he's going to have to add on like a second or third robo facility. Good cannon placement too, like lots of cannons going down. So he hasn't been stingy, does know I can drop him, and he is adequately preparing for that. 4 times speed. First of all, I'm going to put up some sensor towers pretty soon, just so I can know where he attacks me from. And one of the next stages of the game that a Terran really needs is multiple orbital commands, and then like or planetary fortresses just around the map with mass orbital commands just lying around. Because this harvester count, you can't be any more ahead than 64 really. Like you want to stop at like 65, and eventually you want to be trading out those SCVs for orbital commands. And so, time being, we are throwing up extra command centers, which is cool. Extra command centers, sensor towers, so we know where he attacks us from. So that's really cool. Or we're getting ghosts, getting lots of Vikings too. So we're going for that very, very standard MMM plus ghost and Viking army. It is one of the most efficient ways of dealing with the Protoss army, but still it requires a lot of micro, a lot of splitting, a lot of EMPing, sniping, you name it. So here, we're looking for this fight. We do land a few good EMPs here. Storms do land, but we still have EMPs in the field, and then Storms trying to split out of these Storms, and the damage is still being done. Supply dropping very, very fast for us. Protoss versus Terran usually never ends in a, oh, that was really close. Like, both of them like fought very long and hard for that. No, it's a slugfest. It's like, imagine 2 really, really full-grown men that both have very, very glass chins, so one punch knockout kind of deal. So here, after we do win that fight, we do start securing the economic lead even. So we go for these extra bases, these peripheral bases. We do try and hunt down these probes, in which they do get away. And here, he's kind of got mid-control. These Stalkers do start picking off these Vikings, which is Highly annoying, actually. Those Vikings did cost a lot, so I shouldn't have rallied those across the map. Then it's about getting back to my base safely. Here, this is talking about that PF that I wanted earlier. Orbital commands just kind of lying around. Multiple mules joining the fray. His probe count's very low at this moment in time, and I'm kind of wondering what I did a little bit wrong. So in this pro tips, maybe I can talk about what I did wrong in the next 20 minutes to prolong this game and make it a very, very close game, as this game realistically should be over. As I am securing this 5th base, orbital commands, still got a decent work account, and he's got this scary army again. Multiple Colossi, 6. How many Vikings do I have on the field? So maybe is it a Viking mistake? No, 12 Vikings, 6 Colossi. Maybe I do want like a good 4 more or so. But here we're handling this fight pretty well. EMPs do land. Our Vikings all died though, so that was a big mistake. I should have kept like microing my Vikings away from these Stalkers for as long as I could. Either way, getting like level 3 upgrades for my Vikings, getting building armor, building range for the PF and such. We can still kind of see him in our sensor tower, so we know we have to head over in this direction. We do scan just to make sure. And immediately we set our SCVs around the PF just to repair it and try and keep it alive, as we do not want to lose any extra bases than we have to. Here though, we do not really have the Viking count to deal with these extra Colossi, so immediately we put those guys back to work. Harvester wise, we're still doing well, still dropping mules whenever we can. And saving our scans now, just for army positioning I suppose. Over here I did have a sensor tower in which he just sent some DTs to go and kill it, which was smart by him. Soon I guess he'll take back this base. His harvester count is rather low, but it doesn't need to be higher given he's only mining from 2 bases. In fact, yeah, that base is fully saturated, 24 out of 24, 15 out of 24 over here. Definitely needs to start thinking about expanding in the near future. APM wise, pretty high for myself. He's playing very careful and methodical. Either way, Vikings still joining the fray. Double starport is enough. You don't really need 3 in this matchup. Thorzane is one of the people that pioneered this matchup to go with minimal production facilities, but just playing very, very methodical and very calmly and very pristinely with your army control, in which he tried to trade more efficiently than his opponent. Here, resources lost tab, both remained very, very similar throughout this game, so that's kind of cool. Either way, this army does start moving out across the field. Many ghosts. Is this too many? You can never have too many ghosts in this matchup, to be honest. Never, ever have too many. Colossi. Let's check how many there are. 6 Colossi. 2 more joining the fray. So maybe this is just a situation where I could have said to myself, with this amount of Colossi, I needed more Vikings than just this. My Vikings are kind of sitting in a position where I don't really want the Stalkers to attack them, but they are getting stormed significantly, and we are losing multiple Vikings. More Colossi join the fray. And the Viking count is just dwindled so much that these Stalkers can very easily pick them off. And these Colossi, definitely worth their weight in gold. Our bio completely drained. Our ghosts no longer really relevant in this fight, just getting absolutely slaughtered. And this resources lost tab. Yeah, I guess I just needed more Vikings, and maybe to bring my Vikings, rather than being here, needed them over here. So this pro tips is a bit reverse. It's not going to be one of these games where I'm just like, yeah, this went well. I'm going to talk about things that could have been even better. So 4 times speed, we just kind of gather our army together. One of the advantages that we do have is our income has just been much higher for a longer period of time. So this base is mined out relatively. He does start saturating this base again, so he's doing very well in that regard. We do go over here. Does have DTs, trying to put up turrets over here. Saturation, still good. Still okay. This is bad, but it is a PF. Multiple mules do join. 2, getting 3,000 income per minute. I was going to say per second then, but that would have been totally obscure. So lots of Vikings. Maybe, yeah, I think I just needed more Vikings in this game, because his Colossi count was always huge. While I'm landing EMPs and dealing a lot of damage to his army value, I'm actually ahead. As Terran armies do just cost more in general. For example, if you compare a Colossi to a Ghost, that's 200, 100. Here he kind of overcommits. He gets into a position they can't back out of. No storms available. Just 1 Colossi on the field, and we do have multiple units just joining this fight. Cloak Ghosts even joining, and this army does get cleaned up. And if he had a huge income, which, I mean, his income isn't necessarily bad, but if he had enough to reinforce, then that would have been fine. If he had multiple bases and a huge bank of like 4k, that would have been a fine move. But given that this was kind of like a do or die kind of thing, and then he did and he died, wasn't really worth the while. So this army being made into the great army that he does want. So lots of Zealots, lots of Stalkers, High Templars. This base mined out. This base is fully functioning. This base, pretty healthy too. Lots of Ghosts, Vikings, kind of like roaming around the map to see what we can possibly achieve. Little DT does get cleaned up. Resources lost, definitely worse for me. So I have been trading, these fights haven't been going as well for me. So I'd probably say that I was just a little bit stingy on my Viking counts each time. Maybe going for a good 20 or so and just splitting them up even better than I did. Would have been a much better move. This is probably a fight that can go in our favor though. This isn't like super hard to deal with. There's not really any Archons. It's just one thing that I need to hit the EMPs with, which is, first of all, his army. If you can land EMPs on it, great. But ultimately, you want to hit those High Templars, right? You do not want to have these storms hit you. Our Vikings doing a very good job against these Colossi. Huge spread. And then we get the EMP hits too. EMPs land on absolutely everything. And this army of his, for the first time in the game, or a fight, went the way it should. We're still macroing, and look at the supplies. We're actually doubling his supply now. So that fight went perfect. And what went different in that fight? Well, we'll actually talk about it a little bit. So let me just make sure that I go back to the right moment in time. Okay, this is good. Okay, so we have a large arc. Look at the Vikings too, by the way, and the Colossi, and how effective these Colossi are. Are they shooting the whole fight? No. Are his storms landing as good as they should be? I mean, these are pretty decent storms, but we split up. Look at these Colossi. They're just getting shot at. Our Vikings are getting absolute free hits. And these Colossi, they're kind of bumbling amongst themselves and just hitting small squads of units. It's not as if they're hitting the full soup dish. And so these Colossi that can be absolute home wreckers, or not home wreckers, wrecking balls, they're just not functioning like that at all. So we do speed up. We're back to the point where we were, 60 supply against 150. Definitely in good shape. And this is where we take out his peripheral bases, as they're much safer. And this is where his income just isn't good at all. We're going to run around the map now. Also, we're taking bases in the bottom right. That's an orbital. Got an orbital over here. We send a small squad to go deal with those Stalkers, which is cool. We do see that he's not actually mining from any of these bases, so we know he's on maximum 4 bases, in which most of them, they weren't really useful anyway, and a GG is called. Hey guys, this is Pro Tips brought to you by Razer Academy. I am EG Demuslim. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Hey guys, I am EG Demuslim, Terran player for Team Evil Geniuses in StarCraft 2. Today we're going to be looking at TVZ, the intricacies and the little details that you can help to make yourself a better player. So we'll get right into the game and have a look at it. Hello, so here we have Star Station and a game between myself and my dear friend Idra. I'm spawning as the red Terran in the northeast side, and here we have Idra spawning as the blue cross map. You always spawn cross map